My brother let out a derisive snort as he uttered those cutting words. We were living under the same roof, my brother, his wife, and I, while our mother was bearing the brunt of it all. She arrived at our doorstep in a state of utter exhaustion, tears staining her cheeks as she pleaded, "I can't go back there." The image of her distress lingered in my mind, igniting the surge of indignation within me. "What can a loser like you do?" My brother jeered, his words a cruel jab not only at our beloved mother but also at me. Fury pulsed through my veins as I tightened my grip on the phone. "Are you sure you can handle looking after that old hack? Will you take her in?" he taunted, his treatment of our mother reprehensible, his mockery of me equally unbearable. Keeping my composure, I responded evenly, "If you're okay with it, I'll take her in." "My name is Rena. I'm 30 years old, married for 4 years to a kind-hearted husband, blessed with a joyful life and a 2-year-old daughter who brings us endless joy." Glancing at the date on the calendar, I retrieved my smartphone. Today marks my mother's 58th birthday. "Happy birthday, Mom. Are you doing well? Is there anything troubling you?" I texted her, unable to shake off my concern. Her prompt response came, "Thank you for your text. I'm fine, dear. Don't worry. How are you and your family? I pray for your happiness always." Even after reading her reassurance, worry lingered. Currently, my mother resided with my brother and his wife in our childhood home. Our family, once comprised of 4 members, my father, my mother, my older brother, and myself, was marred by my father's authoritarianism and patriarchal beliefs. He was a man of unwavering dominance, his control extending over my mother and me. My maternal grandfather, an employee at a company owned by my paternal grandfather, was powerless to refuse when my mother was chosen as the future wife of the company's heir. Thus, she became the bride of my father under circumstances that resembled coercion more than consent. Although the company eventually collapsed amidst economic turmoil, my father's inheritance left him untouched by financial woes. Despite his idleness, he harbored a deep-seated contempt for women, a belief he passed down to his children. His favoritism toward my brother was palpable, showering him with privileges while belittling me at every turn. "A woman shouldn't be greedy," our father often admonished, his words a mantra of oppression. My brother, steeped in this toxic environment, grew entitled, seeing himself as superior while regarding me as inferior, a mere shadow in his path of self-importance. Growing up in such an oppressive atmosphere was excruciating. Each day, I harbored the fervent desire to escape home as swiftly as possible. Despite my stellar academic performance, my brother, who struggled academically, was granted access to prestigious private schools and universities, a privilege denied to me by our father's archaic beliefs. "Women don't need education. It's a waste," he would disdainfully declare, insisting that I either hasten into marriage or settle for menial labor. I vividly recall the sting of my brother's cruel words, branding me as a failure, a sentiment that left me sobbing in frustration at the sheer injustice of it all. Yet amidst this adversity, my mother remained my unwavering ally. Despite the challenges at home, she covertly arranged for me to attend a boarding school, offering me a glimpse of hope. "Rena, it's all right. You can break free from this place. You'll find happiness," she reassured me before I embarked on my journey to high school. With scholarships and earnings from my own endeavors, I managed to navigate through university, rarely returning home since my high school days. I abstained from attending my brother's wedding and neglected to inform my family of my own marriage. However, I maintained sporadic contact with my mother, cherishing our moments together. It's no exaggeration to assert that I owe my current identity to my mother, an irreplaceable figure in my life. Despite her perceived fragility, she possessed a boundless love for me. Her wish for my happiness echoed in my heart, a sentiment I reciprocated fervently. When news of our father's demise reached me, I opted out of attending his funeral. Yet a startling revelation for my mother unveiled the unexpected turn of events. On his deathbed, our father instructed my brother and his wife to return home and reside with our mother. Since then, they have been sharing the same household, a testament to my mother's enduring kindness and resilience. I yearned to speak up, to voice my concerns, but my mother's gentle assurance silenced my protests. So I held my tongue, maintaining contact with her despite the nagging doubts that plagued me. Bill, my brother, would he truly care for our mother? Was she genuinely alright? These questions gnawed at me incessantly, an unsettling sensation that refused to dissipate. Then, one fateful night, the shrieking of the intercom shattered the silence of our apartment. I rushed to answer, only to find my mother standing there, a shadow of her former self. Dressed in tattered garments despite the chilly autumn air, she appeared frail and trembling. "Mom, what happened? Are you all right?" I exclaimed, my concern palpable. In a voice barely above a whisper, she apologized for her sudden appearance, tears streaming down her cheeks. We welcomed her inside, my husband swiftly attending to her needs, offering warmth and comfort. As she settled in, her voice quivered as she began to recount her ordeal. Living with my brother and his wife, Nicole, had become a nightmare. They treated her as a servant, demeaning her with every task left unfulfilled. My brother's verbal abuse cut deep, labeling her as useless and a burden, while Nicole spewed insults and callously sold off her possessions. False rumors tarnished her reputation, painting her as a troublesome mother-in-law. My mother's health deteriorated rapidly under their tyranny, yet she endured silently, concealing her suffering from me. "Why didn't you tell me?" I lamented, my heart heavy with guilt. "Rena, I've burdened you since you were a child," she confessed, her words laden with remorse. "I hesitated to add to your burdens. I believed if I could endure it quietly." My mother's voice faltered, trailing off. Then, an email notification chimed, disrupting the heavy atmosphere. "It's from Nicole," she murmured, her hands trembling as she read the message aloud. "Where are you? The laundry isn't done, and there's no food. Do you want your belongings sold again?" The threat sent a shiver down her spine. "I'm sorry, Rena. I can't bear to return to that house," she confessed. Her words spurred me into action. Without a word, I retrieved my smartphone and dialed the number my mother had given me. My brother's gruff voice answered, demanding, "Who's this?" "It's Rena. Mom's with me," I replied evenly. "Oh, it's you," he retorted dismissively. "That old hag left without finishing her chores, huh? Tell her to come back immediately." "It seems you've been mistreating Mom," I interjected, my voice quivering with anger. "I've heard everything." My brother's response was a contemptuous snort. "Ha, what about it? What can a dimwit like you do?" he scoffed. "You've worked Mom to the point of illness, and you think that's acceptable. I won't allow her to stay with you any longer." "Think you can afford to support that old hag?" he sneered. "She's been a housewife all her life, incapable of anything and penniless. Are you planning to take her in?" "No more old hag talk. She was more than just a housekeeper," I retorted, my voice laced with fury. From the background, a voice, unmistakably Nicole's, chimed in. "They've been treating my dear mother so poorly, even mocking me. I can't tolerate it," she declared. The surge of rage towards my brother and his wife intensified, my grip on the phone tightening with resolve. "I understand, brother. If that's your decision, then I'll take Mom in," I said calmly, despite the turmoil raging within me. "Well, if you're taking her, that's fine by me. It'll free up some space in the house. And I'll be relieved," he responded dismissively. "Understood. Mom will be living with me from now on, so there's no need to contact us anymore," I declared before ending the call. "Rena, I'll make sure to take good care of your mother too," my husband reassured me, gently taking my hand. Our daughter, sensing the shift in mood, happily climbed onto my mother's lap, calling her grandma. My mother hugged her tightly, tears of gratitude streaming down her cheeks. 6 months later, the incessant ringing of the doorbell shattered the tranquility of our home. Peering out, I saw my brother, his face contorted with anger, accompanied by his wife, Nicole, who wore an ostentatious outfit that clashed with her sour expression. "What do you want? How did you find out where we live?" I demanded, taken aback by their sudden appearance. "We looked it up. Just open up, there's something we need to discuss," my brother insisted. With my husband and mother at my side, I ushered our daughter into another room, preparing to confront them alone. Upon entering, my brother wasted no time in accusing, "What's this about our house being sold?" "Yes, we received the message. My company bought your house," I responded calmly, bracing myself for his reaction. "Your company? What are you talking about?" He sputtered in disbelief. "I'm the head of a reputable real estate company in the area. It's my company, and by the way, doesn't the company you work for subcontract to us?" I countered, watching as realization dawned on his face. "That's absurd. You, a dropout and a failure, running a real estate company? It's impossible, he exclaimed, his voice tinged with disbelief and indignation. If you're skeptical, feel free to make a call to verify. But please, don't cause any inconvenience to the company, I urged, maintaining my composure despite the tension in the room. I promptly presented him with my business card, and as his eyes fell upon it, my brother fell silent, his face flushing crimson with a mixture of surprise and embarrassment. It was undeniable. After graduating from university, I had diligently carved out a successful career path. Initially hired by a prominent real estate firm, I eventually ascended to the position of executive in a newly established company. As a matter of fact, I continued, maintaining a measured tone. I met my husband through work, and we've since married. He happens to be a landowner, so you might say we're quite well off. There's no basis for you to label me a dropout or a failure. Supporting Mom financially would hardly pose a challenge for us. My brother, wide-eyed and visibly agitated, remained silent, while his wife's expression shifted from disbelief to shock. Damn it, okay. What about our family home? What do you mean, you sold it? My brother erupted, his voice bordering on hysteria. Finally breaking her silence, my mother spoke up, her tone firm but composed. You may not have been aware, but after your father's passing, the house and land were legally transferred into my name. Consequently, I made the decision to sell both to Rena's company. It's time for you to vacate the premises. What? What are you talking about, old woman? My brother spluttered in disbelief. Wait, didn't you say, as the eldest son, the house was rightfully yours? Caught off guard, my brother and his wife exchanged panicked glances, their expressions betraying a mix of confusion and alarm. What's wrong with me selling something that's rightfully mine? My mother retorted, her voice unwavering. Sorry to shatter your illusions, but I've liberated myself from your control. I won't live as you dictate anymore, my mother declared resolutely, her voice carrying a newfound strength. In response, my brother erupted in a fit of rage. What the hell are you talking about, you worthless old hack? He bellowed, his wife echoing his sentiments. You've never worked a day in your life, just leeching off others. Indignant, I stepped forward to defend my mother's honor. What are you talking about? Mom works hard. She's the manager of an apartment building owned by my husband and me. She's diligent, keeps the place immaculate, and is adored by the residents. And she gets paid for it too, I asserted firmly. My brother, who had been standing defiantly until then, fell silent, his shoulders slumping as he sank into a nearby chair. I could see the defeat etched on his face. Nicole leaned in to whisper something in his ear, a futile attempt to salvage the situation. Knowing my brother's prideful nature, I could sense the sting of defeat and rejection weighing heavily on him. If there's nothing else, you can leave now. I don't want to be involved with you, I declared firmly, unwilling to entertain any further drama. Suddenly, my brother's demeanor shifted. His previous rage gave way to a fawning grin. All right, but listen, you're rich now, right? Could you spare some cash? I recently lost my job and I'm having money troubles, he pleaded shamelessly. I was taken aback by his audacity. Before I could respond, he continued, Hey, Mom could give money to me too, right? You got money from selling the house. Just think of it as helping out your adorable son. Just as I was about to intervene, my mother's voice cut through the tension. Enough already. Have some shame, she admonished, her words carrying the weight of years of frustration and disappointment. I was taken aback witnessing my usually gentle mother raising her voice for the first time. Even my brother and his wife looked stunned by her sudden assertiveness. I apologize for raising you to prey on your sister like a shameless creature, she began, her tone firm. But there are lines you shouldn't cross. Don't disturb us anymore. Go home. Hearing this, my brother trembled once again, but he quickly retorted, Shut up and listen, old hag. You're not calling the shots here. Be prepared, I'll squeeze every dime of your inheritance from you. Nicole chimed in, demanding money as well. My mother's response was cold and unwavering. That's if there's anything left. From now on, I plan to spend all the money from the sale of the house for myself and Rena's family. I have no intention of leaving a single penny for you two, she declared. Enraged, my brother lashed out. What the hell, you old crone. From now on, I'm cutting ties with both of you. Stay away from me and Rena. Leave that house immediately, I intervened, feeling a surge of pride for my mother's newfound strength. Refusing to back down, my brother and his wife insisted they wouldn't leave until they received the money. Yes, we'll squat in that house, they declared defiantly. Just then, my husband's calm voice resonated through the room. "What do you mean you won't leave?" he asked, stepping forward. My husband's imposing presence seemed to silence them. "Nice to meet you. I'm Rena's husband," he introduced himself calmly. "What were you saying to my wife and mother-in-law earlier?" Suddenly, my brother and his wife seemed to shrink in his presence. Despite his peaceful nature, my husband's stature and demeanor exuded authority. It was no wonder they found him intimidating, especially in comparison to my brother. My husband, bless him, is a challenge to handle, always boasting and looking down on women. "Oh well," I chuckled, trying to mask my frustration. "Oh, I just remembered I have something to do. I should be going," my brother stammered, suddenly eager to leave. "Yes, let's go," his wife chimed in, their sudden change in demeanor almost comical. Suppressing a laugh, I watched them make their hasty retreat. In the quiet aftermath, my husband gently touched my shoulder. "You did well? You must be tired," he said, offering silent support. My mother appeared, holding our daughter, her face radiant. We embraced wordlessly, basking in the warmth of our bond. Fast forward 1 year, and our harmonious relationship continued to thrive. My mother, now lively and healthy, remained dedicated to her job as a building superintendent. Gone was the worn-out figure from that fateful night. In her place stood a pillar of strength. She adored and cared for our daughter, a tremendous help to me. Of course, our daughter adored her grandmother just as much, often clinging to her with affection. Observing their bond filled my husband and me with immense happiness. As for my brother, well, believe it or not, he got divorced shortly after the incident. He lost his house and his fortune, and after revealing his pathetic state to my husband, Nicole quickly abandoned him. Currently, she's on the hunt for a new husband, but her nasty nature and money-hungry motives seem to be hindering her search. My brother now lives alone in a rundown apartment, struggling with part-time jobs. Frankly, I have no intention of helping him. He brought this upon himself. My mother and I have decided to distance ourselves from him completely. By the way, we're planning to build a spacious 2-family home soon. While we could continue living in the condo my husband owns, my mother pointed out that it would soon feel cramped as our daughter grows. "Let's use all the money from selling the house," she suggested eagerly. Grateful for her enthusiasm, we accepted her proposal, looking forward to a future filled with happiness in our new home.